Welcome to Katie Calls BS, the podcast where we cut through the noise in course creation, digital products, and business strategy. I'm Katie Miller, bringing you blunt advice, real action steps, and the occasional F-bomb because building a business is hard and the BS isn't helping. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Katie Calls BS. Listen, you aren't getting a gold star or an Instagram first prize ribbon for doing everything yourself. If you're struggling alone in this wild world that is the year of 2026 and still believe you need to do it all alone or figure it out yourself, buckle up. One of the most expensive sentences in business is, "I can figure this out." I 100% believe you can with Google and YouTube University. You can. It's not about being capable, though. At some point, you have to decide if it's worth paying for that blind spot because you are paying in time and revenue. When you are so close to the problem, you can't see the issues, and it usually takes you twice as long. I can figure out most things that need to be fixed in my house. It's going to take twice as long as a professional, though, and there's some things I know that I shouldn't touch. DIY isn't wrong. I love a good DIY moment. But I know my limits. This idea that we can figure out everything in our business ourselves shows up for all of us. I don't care how far along you are in your business. I don't care how smart you are, capable, experienced. It sounds really responsible. It sounds scrappy. We love to be scrappy as entrepreneurs. It sounds independent. But when you're building digital infrastructure while also running a whole business, that mindset quietly slows everything down. Let's talk about it in terms of some of our industries. Let's think about fitness coaches. Think about a fitness coach telling their clients, go ahead and study anatomy, study some workouts on YouTube, and build your own program. You've got this. That makes no sense, right? Because a fitness coach has studied this for a while. They can tailor a program for their client based on their client's needs. What about a marketing strategist? They would not expect a client to write their own copy, design their own funnel, or run their own ads because they probably don't have the experience and are too close to it. Now, could someone figure that out? Sure, maybe for a little while, but they don't have the background to really understand the nuances of it. Let's dive deeper. Let's take brand photographers. A brand photographer doesn't just take pictures. They see positioning visually. They notice inconsistencies in tone and styling. They direct you so your body language matches your authority. They translate your personality into imagery that you can use for your brand. Could a founder take their own photos? I mean, sure, but will they see their own visual gaps? Will they catch brand misalignment? Will they be able to direct themselves objectively? No, they won't. You're going to try to say yes, but no, they won't. You're too close. You won't be able to think of all the things a brand photographer is able to see or do. Let's take brand and website designers. A strong designer doesn't just make it pretty. They aren't filling in a template. They guide the buyer journey. They remove friction. They structure a message visually. They create the flow of a website. They understand how to do all the back end things. I know that when I go in and work on my website, I want to pull my hair out. Can I do it? Sure. If I had to create that thing from scratch, I would have cried. That's why I didn't do it and hired someone. I could have figured it out, but it would have taken me 4 times as long as my brand and website designer. Because if I do it on my own, or if a business owner does it on their own, we're going to over-explain. We're going to add too many buttons. We're going to clutter the message. We're going to prioritize what we like over what actually converts. We're going to be filling in a template, which works when we start, but it doesn't work when we've been in business for years and years and years. Because we're thinking like a creator. We're not thinking like the buyer. Let's think about interior designers. Interior designers don't just pick pretty pillows. They understand proportion. They create movement through a space. They control energy and function. They prevent expensive layout mistakes. They understand color theory. A homeowner is going to see one piece and like it. A designer sees the full picture. That's perspective. Social media marketers is another good one. This was a big one for me when I was a social media marketer and social media strategist. Everyone thought that and probably still thinks that social media marketers just post pictures. A good social media strategist can identify patterns in content performance. They can spot a positioning drift. They understand buyer psychology. They plan sequences, not just random posts. It's a strategy. If you're DIYing your content, you're posting when you're inspired, you're reacting to trends, you're switching your messaging often, which leads to inconsistent messaging and an unclear brand voice. You're focusing on visibility over conversion and vanity metrics, the people that are focused on their follower count and not actually converting. It's not because you're bad at it, it's just because you're so in it. All of these professionals exist because proximity limits clarity. But when it comes to infrastructure and digital products, business owners think, I can do this alone. I can figure this out myself. Sure, you can, but it's the same thing. You're too close to see the gaps. You're too close to see the issues. You're too close to see the structural problems. Not because you're not capable. It's not because you're not smart, but because you're in it every single day. So any place that you see friction, inefficiencies, repeated questions, unclear onboarding, something that could be a digital product, something that is a low margin offer, when you live inside something too long, you stop seeing what's broken. Those are your blind spots. You start missing obvious issues. Your business starts to feel really familiar because you understand your process, so you assume that it's clear. Your business feels like you, as it should, but any critique that you take on, any outside help that you take on, feels like a personal attack. We've all been at this stage of business. Our businesses are like our babies. We start our business and it feels really personal because it's a skill that we're really good at. So it feels really connected to us. Letting anyone inside doesn't feel safe. Feels like that personal attack. We want to defend all the things that we've built. If anyone points out structural gaps or anything wrong, it feels like a failure. I promise you it's not. Because learning is growth. We get into this mode as entrepreneurs that we're a really resourceful bunch and we can solve hard problems. We are a scrappy bunch. It's a trap. Our brains trick us into saying, I can figure this out too. Oh, that broke. I can figure it out. I know how to build this. I'll figure it out. Because when we start our business, we start with nothing. We start with not wanting to spend a lot of money, not wanting to invest a lot of money into our businesses. So we figure it out. And you definitely can. We tend to stay in this mindset a little too long. Most of us are in the mindset of, I could figure it out. I'm not going to invest a lot of money, or I'm going to invest money because I need to make money. But competence doesn't equal objectivity. You can't see what doesn't exist yet. And then we have the courses, the digital products, the funnels, the systems, whatever the things that exist already, the things we've already built. And we get a little attached to those. Some of those things, the freebies, whatever they may be, stick around for a little too long. They get a little too comfortable in our businesses, on our websites, whatever they may be. Or we built something, we invested in it, we were so excited about it, and we got a little too attached. We keep them just because we spent too much time, and taking them off our website feels like a failure. Instead of redesigning it, instead of letting it go, we tweak it more. We optimize it, but really it shouldn't exist anymore. We stay stuck. I'm going to say something that might be hard to hear. This DIY, figuring it all out on our own and staying stuck, is safe. For a lot of founders, business owners, That control feels really safe. If you build it yourself, you know how it works. You can fix it. You're not dependent on anyone. But that control can slow growth. Leadership within your business, leadership as a business owner, requires delegation of perspective, not just tasks. And that can be really hard. When you answer the same question 100 times, 1,000 times on all those free discovery calls, it stops feeling inefficient and it starts feeling normal. You don't see the pattern anymore. You just see it as today's tasks. You just see it as a normal part of your business. That's how revenue leaks hide in plain sight. And when you build digital products alone because you want to test it out, here's what happens. You focus on content volume and you create something that has too much information. You focus on how pretty it looks, how perfect it is. And you miss buyer timing. You miss what role it plays in your business. You miss how it might overlap with other offers that are doing really well in your business. You miss the pricing structure. And you miss the delivery load impact, what it's doing to your load. But the thing is, scaling requires structure. Love a DIY moment, don't get me wrong. But DIY only works when stakes are low, when the revenue impact is small. When you're learning the basics, so this is like when we first start our business, but when we're in the scale mode, we're in the boss mode, we're leveling up. You have a margin for experimentation, it's cool to DIY, but it does not work when your income depends on it. When you're trying to scale, when complexity is increasing, things are starting to get a little too involved in your business. When you're layering digital products into an existing business, you cannot DIY it anymore. There are too many moving parts. Infrastructure is not a hobby project. It is not a let me test it out project. That's why you keep putting off digital products, because you can't do it yourself. You cannot build an entire digital product suite alone while you are serving clients, marketing your business, selling things, delivering products, because you are going to miss all of the places where your offers are overlapping, where the buyer paths are completely unclear, where there are gaps in delivery and you don't know where you need to show up and where you don't, where there are unnecessary steps in your business and where you need to clear things up and where there are revenue leaks. You're building content, but you don't design structure. Content is the easy part. The infrastructure and how it all works together is not. You can spend 6 months figuring it out. You 100% could do it on your own. Spend 6 months figuring it out. 6 months, a year. Delay it for another year if you want, if you're a DIY person. And you can have more delayed launches, underpriced offers, messy deliveries, more stalled revenue. Or you could have 2 months with a diagnosis, clean positioning, defined product roles so you actually know what everything in your business is supposed to do, where it leads, simplified offers, faster execution. It's not about whether you know what to do or not, or whether you're capable or not, because you are. It's about compression. It's about efficiency. Outside perspective and hiring the right people compresses the time. I'm not here to convince you to hire help. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm telling you that when infrastructure impacts revenue, guessing is expensive. It's kind of like me knowing my limits with DIY. I know that if I try to mess with my sprinkler system, it's not going to be a simple problem. It's probably going to cost me more if I try to fix my sprinklers. So I call the experts first. That is not a DIY for me. When it involves water and electricity, I don't touch it. That's infrastructure. I don't touch it. Guessing is expensive. At some point, you have to decide what you actually want out of your business. Do you want to continue to play small? Do you want to continue to delay digital products because that's the someday thing? I can't do it right now. I can't take it on right now because I need to do XYZ. Because I'll tell you what, you cannot DIY it anymore. If you want it to actually work, you cannot test it out yourself. It's not going to work. Testing out one little tiny digital product is not going to show you what digital products can do. If you want to control every little detail of your business, it's not going to work. You could also lead a business that works, because controlling every detail or leading a business are two different things. That's being a boss who makes decisions, uses expertise strategically, protects their time, and designs for sustainability, or controlling, where you insert everywhere, oversee everything, fix constantly, stays exhausted. You can't be both. You have to choose what you want. An outside perspective isn't about outsourcing what you know. Nobody's questioning that. It's about staying in your lane. It's about doing what you want to do in your business. Because the one thing that I know for sure is that all of us get so caught up in all the other things that we have to do in our businesses. It's all the systems, the back end, all the other things, when all we want to do is the thing that we love. It's about compressing our time. It's about seeing what you can't see because you're so inside of all the things it takes to run a business. So when your infrastructure affects your revenue, guessing costs more than clarity. It's why I don't build first. I diagnose it first. I don't jump into someone's business and say, let's build digital products. We have to see what's happening. We have to see the places where you're too close to it, what you're missing, what's unnecessary, what actually needs to stay in your business. Because building faster isn't the goal. It's all about building correctly for you. You can definitely figure it all out yourself. You decided to start a whole business, so I don't doubt that you can figure it out. And you can figure out what a digital product can do. Go for it. But if your goal is to run a business and scale, make more income, have less strain on your day-to-day life, and maintain a balance of your client load, you're going to need help. The real power isn't proving you can do it alone. It's deciding you don't have to and choosing the right people to support you. That's how you scale your business. So you can show up, stay in your zone of genius while bringing in automatic income. Have a great day. I'll see you next week. If this episode hit home, your next step isn't to build anything. It's to audit what you already have. I offer a paid infrastructure audit where I review your current offers, delivery load, and where your business is relying too heavily on you. You'll get a clear decision doc and a Loom walkthrough outlining what actually makes sense next. The link is in the show notes.